This is Between Hook Sets. I'm Jason Walter from In Through the Outdoors with my partner in slime, Curt Underhill from the Fishing Crew.
Are you
got a loop on that one. We can't have that again, can we? Okay. Well, that's what happens when you fall asleep in your loungy chair.
I came in sliding sideways, running behind, and then I'm like, where are you?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised myself, too. I woke up and went, oh, heavens to Betsy. I've been credging too long.
You've been credging. Your credging hat on.
I'm like, yeah, that I know. People are like, okay, what in the heck is going on with his hat? You know, the funny thing is I used to wear my hat like this. When I first moved to Brookings, I wore my hat like this all the time. That's everywhere I went. That's how I had my hat for years. And I have no idea how I ended up stopping. And I don't even know why I ended up stopping, but
oh, thank God. It doesn't.
Yeah. So, you know,
now the credging bring it back for you.
Yeah. It's just, it's all a part of the deal right now. That's all there is to it. And you know, if that's what you got to do what you got to do, then, then you got to do what you got to do. And for those that don't understand the credge, there it is. That is the new crankbait from Berkley. So, boom. I don't know. Should I go back down to reel? There we go. Feels a little bit better.
Yeah, well, I bet it does.
You know, we gotta say we tried a little bit. Ended up reaching out to Dan Spengler. He's been all over social media this week with the credge and with the new finisher from Berkley. And I seriously thought, you know, it'd be kind of fun to have him on. So I reached out knowing that he probably is going to have a little bit of family life get in the way there, which I understand because he's been gone. I think he was down at NASA, honestly. And he reached out again yesterday and said, you know what? I just can't do it. So plan A fell through. Plan B just never happened. And plan C is us. We had a lot to talk about, really.
We do, though. I mean, we've been talking about this for a few weeks of just having an episode of catch up, reflect back, not be, you know, overwhelmed with what we got to talk about with the guests, and just kind of reflect on the past, you know, not year yet. April makes a year, but I mean, it feels like we've been doing it quite some time, and
yeah,
you know, honestly, it's been a lot of fun. It's going to continue to be fun. Oh, we got a hat. Oh, we got to change hats now.
And that was too tight.
The credge
hat going to end up passing out. It was cutting off circulation. So anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to distract you there.
But yeah, I mean, for those who don't know, you know, I kind of love our story on how this whole thing got started. And I mean, my version is maybe different than yours, Jason, but you know, just so people know where this kind of all started, this idea came from, you know, with the Fishing Crew stuff, my social media was dead in the off season. We have plenty of stuff to put up during the regular season of fishing tournaments, but I just don't find it interesting or fun to put pictures from the summer in January on there. I mean, it's not relevant. Yeah, it's great to show some pictures from the past year, but it's just not my style, not what I thought most people wanted to see. And maybe I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, guys. If you think I'm right or I'm wrong, but we wanted to stay fluent. So I probably sat down over a 4-month period, and I was going to go live. And I'm like, nobody wants to hear me sit here and do what I'm doing right now. Just talk. And I don't really have anything too terribly interesting to say other than talk about the upcoming tournament season, other than, you know, talk about the past season, whatever. And I probably sat down a dozen times in front of the computer and chickened out, turned the mic off. And then it got to the point where one day, if you guys haven't listened to it, you need to go. Well, hold up, back up. Chasen interviewed me a few times on his Into the Outdoors show for different tournament stuff. Got his name from a buddy, Billy Katz, who's been on the show with us. Got his name from Billy, and Billy's like, you need to get on this guy's radio show. So I popped down there a few different times when he called me to interview, gave you a couple different guests to talk to, and then followed him on social media. It's like, hey, whoever, whatever, a guy called me to do a radio show. I've done a few of them. And then one night I was getting ready to get into bed and I heard this episode called My Trip to Namesville. And there it is. If you've not listened to that episode, go find it on his YouTube, his Facebook, his website. And most people won't get it. I mean, honestly, it's an episode that it's not for everybody. You have to know people in the industry. And Jason did a whole episode using everybody's name he interviewed in the last year and told a story. And I went, holy crap, this is unique. This is a guy that I think I can team up with and start this. And so I called him the next day and said, hey, man, I listened to Namesville. This is what I want to do. And I wanted to do a 3 to 5 minute podcast. Yeah. Well, I see we're at 6 minutes and 32 seconds right now. So that would never, we quickly realized that wouldn't work. And then it was going to be 15 minutes. And if guests were good, we were going to cut them off and bring them back and do all this stuff. And then we realized, let's just roll with this. Let's see let's see how the conversation goes. If it doesn't get boring, let's roll with it. And now we sit here, we'll do the math, 7 months later, and we're talking about the past episodes we've done. I hope everybody's found it as entertaining as we have. Jason, what do you think? I mean, what's your thought?
Well, you started out by talking about showing pictures from the past. Yeah, it's painful.
Oh, you had to go there.
That was painful. The fact that he missed that kick was.
You need to ask Brian and Heather Brosdahl about that.
Oh, I'll have to do that because Eric, how you doing? Mark, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's interesting as I got into the social media thing or into the digital world. I was asked to do radio, but it ended up being a digital job too, because in this day and age, you can't just do radio. So I had a lot of learning to do. And when I wrote Namesville, I woke up in the middle of the night, had this idea, and it was 10 times better at 2 o'clock in the morning than it was at 4:30, 5 o'clock when I woke up Sunday morning and thought, oh, I better put that on paper right now. I had to think about it a little bit in the middle of the night. It just came to me. And I just recently put it on my website, chasenwalter.com. Chris Husted said, you need to put your stuff on in print. And Namesville was one of the 18 that I put on there. So now for anybody that's interested, if you went on and listened to it, or if you read it, now all the names are there with all of the names, first and last names. So if you do look at it, you would understand. But it was really meant for that group of 30 people. And Johnny Candle was about the only one that gave it any recognition and kind of gave me a pat on the back for it. And I was really defeated. I mean, I was just bummed out because I thought, wow, this is the one where some people are going to recognize this, and it's going to be, big for me, not big in a sense where I'm, going to become some superstar. I mean, just big for me in the fact that I'm going to feel like I'm a part of the industry. And nothing happened. And then I found out that God works in mysterious ways. I only needed to reach one person, and that was you. I mean, that was.
I told you, I think that was the devil, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't think it was the devil, because later, as we get to working together, and then of course we lost your dad, and you found out that he and I were pretty close, spent a lot of time together in his office at the lodge in Brookings. And he's the one that got me deeper into fishing and fishing the right way. And he's the reason that I go catch a bunch of overs in October and November in our secret spot, which isn't really secret. I was really surprised. I spent most of the year by myself there this year. It was a good time. I had a blast, and it was a lot of fun. So, I'm not much on looking at myself in a camera or looking at pictures of myself. I wasn't excited about it, but we had a lot of fun with the fishing crew, doing things I'd never done before, and it just turned out to be a ton of fun, and super excited to be able to do this kind of thing with somebody. It's hard to do alone. My In Through the Outdoors and my whole Chase and Walter from Milfoil thing is, it's one thing, but then to do it all by yourself, to build your own website, to do all of the social media and get all of that stuff set up, and then really, really seemed to go nowhere because, frankly, and I wasn't trying to gather a great big following on social media. I was just doing a radio show. So the social media became an archive and a Rolodex for me. So it's been huge because that's how I got into the outdoor industry, into the fishing industry, and met people and became a part of the industry. That and a glow was absolutely huge. I met a lot of great people there over the last couple of years, and it's amazing. Never thought I'd consider myself a writer, but boy, do I like to write my solo cast. I really like to write my individual episodes, like Namesville, to do some of that stuff. So, it was absolutely fantastic. The next venture is poetry. Walleye, oh walleye, where are you tonight? I've drilled holes here and there and everywhere. I've been ripping and rapping and dead sticking. I've rattled a buckshot. I've rattled a flyer. I've fluttered a spoon, all by the light of the moon. Now the warden's here to check, and I'm thinking, what the heck? Please give me a break. Then he said softly, sir, don't you know there are no fish in this lake? And so I passed that along to a whole bunch of people, and nobody laughed. I went, well, at least I laughed, because when I got done writing that, I woke up in the middle of the night or early in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I grabbed my phone and I hit my microphone in a Google Doc, and boom, there it was. And I let it roll. And Sherry, how are you? Hey, thanks for being there for all of us here. I appreciate it. It's a ton of fun, and she's most certainly part of the crew here, if there's a Between Hook Sets crew. But the thing that I learned too is, if you can make yourself laugh, maybe that's all that matters. Whether everybody else does or not. Not every skit in Saturday Night Live is funny. So I thought, well, it's an element, and I'll roll with it. So it's been a good time, and it's really actually kind of fun to be able to have an episode like this tonight where, maybe the masses aren't going to enjoy it, but for those who follow us and care, they get the story and they find out a little bit about the rest of the story. Tanner, hello. So yeah, what the heck? It's been a ton of fun, and I'm so grateful that I get a chance to do this, and I get to do stuff with great people out there that absolutely blow my mind, who are very giving and sharing of their time, their personal time, and it's wonderful. I did feel bad when I got a hold of Dan Spengler. Like, I shouldn't even ask, but here again, if you don't ask, you don't know. So if you don't ask, you don't end up getting Aaron Schuck on. You don't get Keith Pazour on. You don't get Gregg Wollner on. You don't get Jason Mitchell or Tom Boley or any of those people to just take some time and spend with you. And that's a big thing when you're trying to share content with people.
Or our permanent studio guest, Benny Spies, in the background.
Well, yeah, I am so grateful that we had Benny Spies on, and I was going to rattle him off with the other group, and I thought, no, actually, I've got Benny behind me, and frankly, I've got Benny beside me, and I'm absolutely just super proud of this poster, just for the fact that he had the wherewithal to write, I was on Between Hook Sets. And he's one of those guys that I paid attention to years ago and thought was funny. And then it was his comeback when he did the zebra mussel thing. I just absolutely became enamored with him. And then I met him in person. and I really wasn't sure. Hey, Steve Miller, the Joker, Nebraska's in the house. I like that. If I could whistle again, I that's the one thing I've got gray. I can't whistle anymore. No, see, I just can't. It's just not going to happen. But anyway, Steve, great to have you hanging on. There's just something about Benny that's really, really cool. He actually, for those that have never met him, he oozes cool. Hi, Scott. Bridgewater. I love it. Heading up
Tell
to
Cody
Devil's
hi
Lake.
for me.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you're going to Devil's Lake, I think there's a couple of places we'll tell you not to go, and a couple of places to go. No,
I think
here's the thing about Devil's Lake, and I'm just going to do this for his benefit and the fact that he's going up there. Devil's Lake's got fish all over it. I'm not kidding you. That's the thing. It's such a big, huge body of water. Pelican is a secret, but it's not. Just make sure you take $20 if you're going to go park up there, because I wasn't paying attention and got stuck with, all I have is hundreds, and I'm not putting $100 bill in that thing. But you go to Woodland, they've got a great bait shop there. They've got a lot of guys that really know what they're doing. And there are other great folks on that lake. I felt a little bad, but not really bad. I just the fact that we've got Zippy and the Perch Patrol. I talked to them, and in the ice conditions, things were not good. And Zippy said, "Boy, I'll tell you what, it's just tough for us to go on and give anybody any information because it could be deadly." And so I didn't reach out to Mike Peluso, and I just didn't reach out to some of those guys, Bry's Guide Service, and some of those great guides up there that are absolutely fantastic, because of the fact that, boy, the last thing I want is a cloud hanging over my head because somebody took some information from our show and went up to Devil's Lake and then had problems. Take, for instance, when we went to Creel Bay, we had to go all the way around. We had to
they
go
dropped the
all the way
side by
from
side through that day.
Yeah, right. And I just wasn't really expecting that. And that was on a four-wheeler. That was on a UTV. And things have gotten a lot better up there, Devil's Lake. They're making ice like crazy. And I've got a few friends that have been up there fishing over the last week or so. Basically, right after we left, the fish started biting again.
Of course.
So
we both have a black cloud, and we combined forces, and it was not. But hey, that trip was fun. Sheldon Meidinger came up with that idea. Thank you, Sheldon. Thank you, Mortz. Thank you, Woodlands, and
Dustin
Melby. Sorry, thanks for helping me out there. And John Bavette. I mean, it was awesome weekend up there. We had a lot of fun. And yeah, we didn't catch fish, but it's fishing. It's not catching. It was about the camaraderie. It was about trying something new, and hopefully people watch that and people like that, and we can continue to do this. I mean, growing up watching fishing shows and being on different ones throughout the years, and helping with the fishing crew with my dad and stuff, the Pro Challenge stuff, a lot of stuff is staged. And I mean, it's not necessarily the way you want it. I want to portray what it is, because not everything is staged. I mean, that's not how every fishing trip happens. That was one thing about the old Fishing Crew Pro Challenge. If the guys didn't catch fish, they didn't catch fish. That was the way it was. And it's unfortunate, but that's fishing. It's not every time you go get limits. And more times than not, for me, it's not a limit, I didn't get the good fishing gene from my dad, but I do love the sport. And that's why we've talked so many times. We're not trying to make ourselves famous. We're trying to help other people get there and promote the industry and the sport. And, I truly do love running the fishing crew. It's a passion of mine. It's a sickness probably at some points, if you ask my wife and family. But it's my way of being part of that industry. And I'm not the guy. I went and fished the NTC with my good friend Brian Woodward from Wyoming 2 years ago, and I looked at him, I said, I don't even know why I'm out here. I'd rather be on shore setting up and getting ready for this.
Yeah, I don't, I think same with you. And Sherry says that catching fish is exciting. However, yeah, the memories and the time spent with friends and family, there is nothing better. And that trip to Devil's Lake certainly proved it for us because we were having a blast. Dustin, how you doing? Um, yeah, the memories are huge, and I think that's for us. That's what it was all about because you had said the more the merrier.
Yep.
And as we reflect on that, there were a lot of things that we kind of left out of what we wanted to do with between hook sets and the reason for taking the trip. But we were up there learning, trying to figure it out, and we just got caught up in the moment with friends and family and other people that we just met that became new friends. And I think that's what the trip ended up being all about, was meeting new people, hanging out, and becoming friends with other people that you didn't know. Because I sure had a good time with Clint and Dustin in that snow bear, and it was a ton of fun and got a chance to spread my wings. We talked social media and I learned a lot, and it was a whole bunch of fun. I love to fish. I really do. I'm not out there to be a pro fisherman. I don't want to be. Like I put on my new website, I'm a storyteller of storytellers, and that's what my brother said. He said, "Well, you're kind of tell people you're a storyteller of storytellers, or I'm a narrator. I'm not a fisherman." And the good thing is, though, if I really want to have a nice wall hanger, I found this on Facebook today, and for only $125, I can have that thing hanging on my wall.
They're paying you to put that on your wall?
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking after I saw that. I thought, honestly, there's no reason why they shouldn't just give me 125 bucks to take that off their hands. Let's see what Mark says here. Fishing for him is uh, out from life. Yeah, catching fish is a bonus, and when the fish is on, everything shuts off for that moment. Boom. That's where I got the boom from, my buddy Mark, and he's absolutely right there. It is. It's about the memories. It's about life. And I joke around with people, especially when I get home from a trip where things just don't seem to work out, and that happens often. And I always tell people, I have more fun talking about fishing, and I swear I catch more fish talking about it than I do anything else. But I do love to talk about it. I spend a lot of time researching. I research maps. Anywhere we go, like take for instance, we're going to go to Winnipeg. My buddy Kirk wanted to go to Winnipeg after we had Brett on, and I like, yeah, I want to go too. I'm ready to go. When do you want to leave? And we both just kind of looked at the calendar and went Feb 1. Let's go February 1st, but let's do an exploratory trip. So for people who have never done it before, we can kind of share that information because we've talked about going to Winnipeg. Well, I don't want to go up there blind. I was up there when I was a kid numerous times. Went to the horse races at Assiniboine Downs, I think it is. It's been a long time since I've been to Winnipeg and Lake Winnipeg. So we're going up there on an exploratory trip, and we're going to snoop around and look for bed and breakfasts and eat all the food. And we're going to try to fish. We're renting a snow bear on Saturday to fish for a little bit, just see what happens. Plus, we want to get out on the lake, drill holes, see what the lake looks like, drop a camera down there, get a good feel for it. And then when Sheldon and you and I and the Between Hook Sets crew heads up there to mess around, I'll at least know what's going on, and I'll feel a whole heck of a lot better about it. But I'm looking just forward to the trip
Yeah.
and going up there and hanging out and using my passport for the first time in a long time. And this business is so crazy. I it got to the point where I'm like, well, if I'm not catching fish, people are think that I'm nobody. But I don't need to be anybody because I'm telling your story. I'm telling Mark's story, or I'm telling Brian Brosdahl's story. And that's what I came into this to do anyway, was to tell people stories. And I'd love to know the story behind this one. I know this fella that received this walleye after it was done, was pretty excited about it. And I'm like, wait a minute, and then there's another walleye story. I want to know because here's the thing: we got busy and got caught up, and We never did find out what was in that walleye's mouth. Now, oops, I got to get rid of that guy too. I don't know what the deal is with the walleye from cabin C5 on
If
Woodland.
anybody goes there, they need to figure out what's in there. Don't break them out, but get that out and let us know what was in that fish's mouth. I think
Like,
some guests put it in there, and it could be just nothing, but
you're going
we
to have
didn't get a chance to pull it out. We tried, but we didn't have forceps in the cabin to see what it was.
Yeah, you got to have the hemostat. If you don't have a hemostat, it's going to be really hard to get in there and find out what it is. But nonetheless, this has been so much fun, and it's really actually exciting to be able to just sit down and have a conversation, just the two of us, about what we've done and who we've had on the show. Having Gregg Wollner on, having
That
a
was
CEO
one
of
of my favorites. Learning the
yeah,
whole story in Northland. I
yep,
still tell people all the time that Northland was almost out of business. That was insane to hear that to me,
yeah,
because
he
that's
was
been a
so
company that's probably one of the first, that Berkeley and them were the first companies I can remember when I was a kid getting into fishing. We jigged black lipstick jigs every time we went out, vertical jigged them. And I told the story when Greg was on. My dad was like in meltdown mode when they quit making the black lipstick jigs and went to a chartreuse one. And then they went from chartreuse to this ugly black and white thing that didn't work. And I've searched and searched. I still look for this data for black lipstick jigs. I can't even find a picture on the internet of a black lipstick jig.
I can't either.
And Greg told me they're coming back, so
Yep.
I will hold him to that. And I hope he's right and they're coming back. And I will have a tackle box full of them, because that's the memory of what I fished with my dad growing up all the time. Black lipstick jigs, vertical jigging. That's what we did.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty amazing to have him come on and to be honest and tell a story. You just don't get that anywhere on social media or on the radio. You don't get it unless you reach out and say, "Hey, will you be on the show?" And he agreed to do it, and he agreed to do it without hesitating, which was awesome. Jason Mitchell popped on the show. It's great to have him on and take some time. He had a busy night, but he gave us time. Tom Boley surprised me. Tom Boley's a busy dude, and he took time out to talk to us and to those that are watching. And thanks for watching, and thanks for all the comments, by the way, because that's the thing that a lot of these social media studs thrive on. They want to see the comments, they want the questions, they want all of that stuff. And if we can give it to them, they'll be on the show. And so Joe Henry from Lake of the Woods, you had mentioned that you were, you really didn't know Joe, just really didn't know where that show was going to go, and it ended up being a great show. It was super fantastic.
And that's what people might not know, or maybe they do, but some of the guests, we may neither one of us may never have talked to the guy, or it's a guy that I've known or a guy that Chasen knows. So a lot of our guests are not somebody we both know. There's been a couple, but for the most part, it's a lot of people one of us doesn't know, or neither one of us know. And it's been so awesome to have both state records on. I mean, that was so cool. The first state record with Aaron's Fish, that art, we were the first people to interview him. And that thing, our podcast got quoted all the way up to Field and Stream, I saw.
Mhm.
So we got picked up all over. I just really hope people like what we're doing. We're getting comments in tonight that people are. We're excited for the future. There's a lot of things that we're going to continue to do. If there's something out there, that please be honest with us. If you don't like something, don't bash us, but just say, hey guys, like, a little boring tonight, or let us know what you guys are thinking, or if there's something that we're missing, because it's just two guys that want to promote the industry. And what we think is really interesting, maybe the Gregg Wollner thing to a lot of people was boring. It was super interesting to me. I don't think so, but maybe that was. And that's the reason for the name Between Hook Sets is it's not all about fishing. There's a lot of other things. That's why we've had Chris Nicolai and Sean Weaver on. We've had Benny on. We've had Gregg Wollner. Yeah, he's tied to fishing, but it wasn't even talking fishing that night. It was talking the history of Northland and how he got there. And it's been fun with all these different guests. We learned something. Chris Nicolai blew up my whole childhood of thinking northern mallards exist. I still hold that against him.
Right. Yeah, I'm so bummed out because growing up, we hunted the northern mallards, and I knew they weren't a separate species. I think for me, and in the back of my mind, it was always just a designation to
Yeah.
a bigger, fatter, more mature greenhead.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
still, we got great information out of those guys, and it was one of the most viewed podcasts, live video that we've had, and it just surprises me some of the directions that we go, and that's what's exciting about it. I just got a quick message here on my Facebook page from In Through the Outdoors. Fella said, and I can't tell who it is. My nephew's in Sioux Falls. What station can you catch In Through the Outdoors on? Unfortunately, I can't get anybody in Sioux Falls, but I'm joining your ag network here real soon. They've got 65 or 66 stations. Right now, you can get it out of Pipestone. You can get it out of Madison.
You can get it on YouTube.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can just go to YouTube, Chase and Walters In Through the Outdoors. Matter of fact, now you can actually tell your phone, if you've got an Android phone, you can hit the Google and say, play In Through the Outdoors podcast. And my phone's on mute. But anyway, it pops up right away. So I just went through that whole voice search thing, and it's supposed to be on the iTunes and Alexa and Siri and all those here in the next couple of weeks. It takes a while to get used to it. But my show is a quick 2-minute show. A lot of the episodes, 2 episodes a week, are my perspective on things that I've done or am doing in fishing. My Friday episode is a little bit of news where I catch up on things that I can't catch because I usually do an episode or a week or 2 ahead of time. So now I've just added a tip because I've got all of these tips that I had to do for CHS Outdoors for my good friend Aaron Coe at CHS in Elkton, South Dakota. And I thought, gosh, I should start using those. And actually, one of my tips coming up here is about going to Canada and the fact that your credit card could charge you 1% to 3.5% foreign transaction fee. The other thing you need to make sure of, if you go up there and you pay $800 for a guide in Canadian dollars and you put it on your credit card, that you don't pay $800 in US dollars. Make sure that the conversion is done by your credit card company. If not, you're just going to end up wasting your money, and you don't want to do that. So you really have to pay attention to that stuff and make sure that you've got a credit card company that does that, because there are some that won't, but there are some that will, because I did some checking, and a couple of banks suggested that you just go to like the Bank of Montreal in Winnipeg or one of those banks and exchange your American dollars for Canadian dollars and pay in cash, so that you don't have to worry about transaction fees and those type of things. So it does make a big difference. You book a motel room for $600, the exchange rate is 35%. So that's $35 for every 100. So that's $140 cheaper, for 2 nights. So, you're or three nights. So, you're going to save a chunk of change there. So, you do have to be careful. But anyway, the In Through the Outdoors thing has been a ton of fun, and I love doing that. And it's just one of those deals where for me it's a radio show. It's on the radio, it plays, and it's gone. The crazy thing is it's on. I've got it. Just about everywhere, and whether it's YouTube or Facebook or wherever. On almost all the podcast venues. It's on Spotify, it's on iHeart, and those, matter of fact, our Between Hook Sets is on iHeart now, and it should be on Spotify and some of these others. It takes a few weeks for it to catch up, but all of that stuff is out there. There's over 700 episodes, and I get into a little bit of anything and everything. And Between Hook Sets has provided a lot of great content for In Through the Outdoors, and so is the fishing crew. I'm looking forward to spring. It's going to be a different year. Last year we played around with video. I think we're we're a whole lot better at it now. So I can't wait to see how the fishing crew tournaments turn out for all of those people who are fans and viewers, because it is going to be more like the MWC and the NWT, because or even the Bassmaster Elite or MLF. You know, it doesn't have to be on TV. It's on social media, and it's going to be like TV.
We played around last year at the Sharp Showdown where we had guys, you know, we sent out the link to 5 boats and we interview guys on the water, and we're going to do more of that. And it's, you know, and you might not see them catching fish, but get a on the water update throughout the day. In the Sharp Showdown, we were lucky enough for Wright and Pier. We had time to put my pontoon in and run around and go talk to fishermen on the water. We're going to learn more things. We're not perfect. We're not, I mean, I run tournaments. Brian runs a radio station. You know, we're not necessarily, you know, it's not necessarily perfect, but we're trying. Bear with us. We're going to try to get as much content out on the behind the fishing crew and stuff like that as we can. So, you know, and hopefully you fish the tournaments and you want to be interviewed, or you're willing to do some on the water stuff. Please come up to us. Don't hesitate. If that's something you want to do, please come up to us, and we're going to ask you to do it throughout the things, and we're going to interview people, and it's a lot of fun. You know, just thinking of interviews, we had meat eater guy at the Sharp Showdown that you got to interview. The trivia, why am I drawing a blank on his name? The trivia guy for Meat Eater,
Spencer Newhart.
Yeah. And then Gov Cup, we had John Hoyer, Dusty Minky, Dewey Jelm. I mean, we've had some good names on interviews at the tournaments and on the show. It's been so much fun. You know, looking ahead to the summer, the Gov Cup is already full. 200 teams.
That's 200 so crazy.
Teams in like a week and a half, I think, or 2 weeks it took to fill that tournament. So we're super excited for the season. Chamberlain is sitting at about 75 to 78 teams. Pike Masters is still private right now. That's rolling in. I think we're in the 20s on that tournament. The Sharp Showdown is getting people now that the Sharp Showdown is up to like 16 or 17 teams in that right now. That's going to start building. And, I'm going to sneeze here. You know, my 24 hours of ice is on. You know, the tournament's going to happen. So I've got guys down there talking to guys that are out there every day catching fish. So can't wait for that 24 hours of ice. We're going to do some stuff from there. You might see me come live at 2:00 in the morning if I find a team. So it's just fun. And the best part is if you don't like it, you just skip past it, you know, and we hope everybody likes it. And the big thing, guys, is we did this to grow, you know, our social media. So, you know, we can talk to sponsors and we can get more people to follow our stuff and know what we're doing. So if you haven't liked both our Facebook pages, please do. Go over and like Jason Walters. Go over, like the Fishing Crew. Hit the button on the top, 3 buttons. Share it out with friends. We appreciate that stuff. It costs you nothing. It takes 2 seconds of time to grow that, and that helps grow what we're doing. That helps grow both our different businesses that we have, and it keeps us continuing and going down the road, and it's fun. We're definitely not in this for money. We both work day jobs. This is more of a passion than anything for both of us, you know, and that's what we like to do. Like I said, we love to fish. We love the fishing. We love the outdoor industry. I mean, we absolutely love the outdoor industry, and it's a great industry, and we're just trying to make a little mark on it and be promoters. You know, we're not trying to be the Corey Springles or the John Hoyers or the G-Man of the world. You know, they've got it figured out. They figured it out early. They're doing great things on social media. They're doing great things for themselves. They're doing great things for the industry. And everybody watching tonight is an outdoorsman. You know, everybody that's commented loves being outside. So let's help it. Let's take some kids out, man. Let's get kids out fishing. Let's get
Right.
that next generation out. So, but moving on, like, I mean, we got a big year. This weekend I have Delta Waterfall Banquet. We're looking at having, 500 people in attendance at our Pier Delta Waterfall chapter. People don't know. A lot of people don't know what Delta Waterfall is. It's similar to Ducks Unlimited, but they're more about growing ducks and making, their habitat management and growing the ducks and getting that out. And the best part is our chapters that are in your local communities or in our local community, we get to keep a large portion of that money raised locally. And our chapter gives, I'd say, 95% of that back to kids. We do some predator management. We do some nesting structures. But 95% of the money we earn, we give back to kids. And it's so awesome to do. And the crazy part is we're a town of 13,000 people. And we're in the top. Last year we were number 5. Before we were number 2 in the entire Delta Waterfall thing. Out of 250 some chapters, we were number 5 and number 2 with a town of 13,000 people. And it's so much fun to be part of. We continue to grow this and see what everybody wants to hear. And we got a coyote tournament coming up. We're going to do some coyote stuff. So much fun doing it already.
Yeah, it's exciting to know what's coming, and like Tom said, it is going to be exciting to see what we've got. Tom Seberg, world walleye champion with the MWC. We hope to have him on. I told him, let's have you on right before the MWC starts the season. There's some new stuff there. There's some more money and some neat things, so it'd be a little bit more relevant. Although I have to say, he's guiding up in the Webster area on the glacial lakes in northeast South Dakota, and they're catching fish. Tom is catching fish. I've got to get up there and try to hang out with him a little bit and see how things are going up there. That would be super exciting. Jack from Jack's Tackling Grand Forks. Unfortunately, Jack's not coming down. I should pop this on the screen real quick. Fishing for Miracles tournament this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, has had to cancel their fishing portion. It's unfortunate, but Lake Poncet has about 7 inches of ice about a quarter mile out. Somebody went out in a UTV and drove out a little bit further, about, I think, a half a mile out, and they could visibly see the ice sink and the water come up through a few cracks. They backed up and got out of there. And I know a lot of people have been really upset and angry on the Fishing for Miracles Facebook page. Come on. You lose one person and the party's over. So the smart thing for Fishing for Miracles to have done is to cancel and just say, hey, look, we're going to have the fun night and we're going to do the raffles. We're going to do all that stuff, but we're not weighing any fish and we're not fishing. So that's the smart thing to do.
It's the last call as a tournament director you want to make is cancel a tournament. But when it comes to safety, there's no fish worth it. There's no fish worth losing somebody over. So they made the right decision. It's a tough one to make. It's hard to do. You're not going to make everybody happy when you make those decisions. But trust me, as a tournament director, I know they didn't just make that decision without a ton of thought, a ton of looking into it and knowing what's going on. So I agree. They made a great decision. Poncet's a scary lake. We always hear people that go through it regardless, even on good years. So there'll be another fish. There'll be another tournament.
Yeah, there will be another year. And just because they're not going to do it now doesn't mean it's that big a deal. Tom says they're seeing good ice on Webster. That's fantastic. That's good to hear. We want good, safe ice, and that's what we're looking at here. Now, the thing that's surprising is the 30-degree weather that's supposed to be coming next week. I'm not sure what Mother Nature has in store, but I'll take the 30 degrees because we're not going to lose any ice because of that. Maybe with some sunshine, but I think we've got snow on the lakes now, and I don't think we're going to have to worry too much about the greenhouse effect. So, we should be good to go. We should be very good to go. Next week on the show, I think we're going to talk to, I hope we have Long Breaks on and we get to talk about the Coyote Cup coming up. I think that's going to be a great conversation.
Yeah, if you guys don't know who they are, I haven't even reached out to them. I'm going to reach out to the Long Break guys, Coyote Culture Boys. They know how to get it done calling coyotes, and it'll be pretty cool if we can get them guys on. Like I said, we've got that. There's plenty of show ideas. And guys, we would love to put a calendar out there who we're going to have. But one thing we've always talked about with the show is we want to stay relevant. So if we put a calendar out there, shows and the 2 state records were caught in 15 days, it's really hard when somebody is gracious enough to give us an hour of their time to come on this show to say, hey, we got to cut you because we got to talk to, Aaron or Keith because they just caught the state record. So yeah, we need to do a little better promoting. We've talked about it, but it's trying to stay relevant. And in the world we live in, it's ever changing. It's fast. And just know every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. we will be on.
Yeah, and we've had a great turnout tonight. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. Surprising to see the reactions, and we've got 17 comments. And honestly, Toby, it's good to see you. Good to know that you're here. Yeah, the lake has taken many fishermen. That northeast corner of Ponset can be cursed at times. I don't even like going over there. So it's just a whole lot safer to just play it safe and be very, very careful. And, and here's the thing, we had Brett on from Blackwater Cats Outfitter. That was a last minute deal because people were going up to Winnipeg fishing greenbacks. And we thought that's the most relevant thing right now. And we threw Brett on because Donovan Pierce was busy with a family birthday and he shared one of his guides. Brian Brosdahl said he'll be on the show, but he's been busy and, getting Dan Spengler on to talk about Berkeley's new baits that he helped create, with the Kredge. And my hat's not tight enough to stay that way. Darn it anyway. And then the finisher, they look like fun baits to try. And so, the cameras are backwards. Have you noticed? I give someone the peace sign over here. I got to learn the camera is right there, but I just haven't figured it out yet.
You can mirror your camera, buddy.
Well, see, here's 43 years of my life right here. The microphone. All I need to worry about is this right here. So not that little camera right there. But anyway, what a ton of fun. It's been great to have everybody hang out. I see we're going on 47, 48 minutes. I thought maybe we'd go 25 or 30, just you and I, but we can certainly talk without stopping. That's not a problem. It's great to have people paying attention and being a part of it and sharing their comments and likes. And that's what makes the show even better, because the show isn't about you and I and our faces on Facebook or YouTube or wherever. Dustin, thank you very much.
We're going to have to get him on when old Pike Haven starts going this spring.
Yeah, right. So a lot of stuff. And every Wednesday it's something different. And the good thing is we're trying to not take Wednesdays off. We try to be here at 7:00 sharp, unless you fall asleep at the lazy boy there and you don't wake up until a couple minutes before 7. So, that's the way it goes. But what the heck anyway. So, hey, it's been great to have you. Jack, thank you very much. I will take a picture. We're going to give $130 to Fishing for Miracles. That's all right, Jack. I get it. There's not much point in coming down from Grand Forks for a couple hours of raffle. If we're fishing and doing things like that, it's a whole different story. Got the Chase and Walter micro-beaded Snell. I made it and I can't even say it. And so dime every time from every sale of one of those going to the Children's Miracle Network and Fishing for Miracles crew. So Keith, great to have you here. Thanks for catching that record walleye.
Yeah,
it was great to have you on the show too.
Buddy.
Couldn't have done it without you. So anyway,
before we go upward, we have a new page on the Fishing Cruise website. It's got a Between Hook Sets tab. You guys can hop on there, look at archive shows, listen to the podcast version. So like I said, follow along, please, and hope you guys enjoy it. And if you don't, share it with friends. Maybe they'll enjoy it, and all we're trying to do is keep people entertained. And we're just a dumb tournament director and a dumb radio guy that are trying to do something different. So
yeah, don't listen to the newspapers when they say a group of South Dakota fishermen had Keith on their radio show or on their podcast. Just all that AI stuff and its generic business just drives me nuts. But oh well, that's all right. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. Thank you very much, Curt. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate it. If you've got show ideas, let us know, because we never know. You know, it's always nice to hear from people who are watching. We're hoping that we're as relevant as possible each and every Wednesday. So it's great to have you here. Thank you much. And Benny, thanks for having my back, buddy. I love it. And my side.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
glad
got
he
he's
doesn't have
covered
my
on all
phone.
angles. That's not a good thing if you know Benny too well. That's not a good thing to have him at multiple angles for you.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic. All right, Curt, take care. Everybody, take care. Happy Valentine's Day. It's coming up soon. If you're lonely like I am on purpose, well, you could care less whether it's Valentine's or not. You wait until January, until February 15th when the chocolates go on sale at half price. All right. Y'all take care. We'll time. Maybe